A couple of nights ago, I revisited a movie that is a classic for me. I watched it with my mom and my brother, and it's one of those movies that because it's from Disney, you will remember it a certain way, but then when you revisit it after so many years, you may pick up on things that you never picked up on before. And I don't know about you guys, how you guys watch movies, but me personally, I have this problem where I tune into a movie the same way I would tune into a conversation. I'm looking at the actor, looking at the character, looking at the people, looking at the persons to maintain my engagement with the plot to the point that I remember those instances better, but I never ever noticed details about the scenery, say Easter eggs, unless it's right there on my face in a way that's like, say, one of the characters is wearing it essentially. I won't notice it. Or unless it's something that's very boldly colored or boldly placed on a scene, I won't see it either. I watched the Tarzan movie from 1999, and I remember I saw it maybe some 4 years ago, 5 years ago, could be longer. And even when I rewatched it last night, I was doing my best to remember videos I have seen about it over the years and things that people pointed out. And they are still things that I noticed now that I had never seen before. For instance, in the year 2017, I made notes about this. I had never noticed the bodies of Tarzan's parents in that one scene where Kala is visiting the treehouse. That back in the early 2000s when I was watching this movie, I don't remember that at all because I, as a viewer, the bold thing that stood out to me was Sabor's paw prints. But I never ever, I'm telling you, I never noticed these folks right there at all. At all. And that's always been a problem I've had as someone who watches movies. I'm going to share with you guys the notes that I have made over the years, including a couple of nights ago, about this movie. And if you're familiar with this movie, let me know what are things that you never noticed, or what are the things that you noticed a lot of, or what scenes had an impact on you. Because to me, this was a very sentimental movie. I feel like it went over many themes that I think as humans it's important. There's abandonment, rejection, anger, frustration, fury, rage, betrayal, stories of elevating yourself, maternal stuff, and I guess cultural clashes. It is a wonderful theme, a wonderful movie, a wonderful show in general. They used to have The Legend of Tarzan back in the day when we had Toon Disney. I tuned into that show. I loved it. So, anyway, let's get started. Something I remember learning about some 6 years ago is the theory of how Tarzan is supposed to be the child of Elsa and Anna's parents. I think her name is Anna from Frozen. Allegedly, he is their brother. And the shipwreck that we see in the beginning of this movie is supposed to be Tarzan and Elsa and Anna's parents. And they're supposed to be Scandinavian, but somehow they ended up shipwrecking somewhere in Africa. And I kind of want to believe it, but at the same time, I know Disney connects their universe. But if they did make a good story out of it, I would enjoy it. I would love it because Tarzan is one of my favorite characters. And I have become very fond of Frozen too. But you mean to tell me that somehow Elsa and Anna's mom was able to conceal that she was pregnant? How come at no point in Frozen do they ever, I guess, express that they had a younger sibling? unless the hint has been there and I've missed it. But that is immediately what I can use to counter his existence as their brother. I don't believe it is, but if it is, then I cool. He has 8 powers that he developed based on his upbringing, but Anna never had powers like Elsa did, so I don't know. I can't tell you. Something else I made a note of was how the fuck is Tarzan never portrayed as having a fuck ton of facial hair when he's grown? Watching the Disney Tarzan movies, I cannot help but see Kerchak as a massive prejudice guided, essentially a racist. Because Kerchak was constantly talking about how Tarzan does not look like them and how much not ape Tarzan is. That's prejudice. Also, there is a literal Pokemon that is Tarzan with Wolverine hair and vines as wristbands. Zarude, I guess it's called. That's from the generation of Pokemon I'm not familiar with. But here he is. What? Pokemon should have stopped at Gen 3, I'm telling you. When is The Legend of Tarzan gonna be added to Disney Plus? They're dropping the ball on that classic. I really want The Legend of Tarzan to become available on Disney Plus. I wanna rewatch those episodes. I remember most of them, but I'm sure I missed some. But I remember that being possibly my favorite show. As a white man in Africa without sunscreen, Tarzan should have skin cancer. I also noticed that Tarzan, in some scenes, on some angles, he looked to me like he has like a Habsburg chin, that banana shaped chin going on. So maybe he is from royalty. Tarzan is an adult man and never grows facial hair, certainly doesn't shave. So are the skeletons of Tarzan's parents still at the treehouse, or were those buried, or how were they disposed of? The events of Tarzan happened 143 years ago. Now, this one messed me up 2 nights ago because I caught it because I rewinded it a few seconds because I wanted to notice exactly how Clayton was getting tangled in the vines. Exactly, like, sure, he was chopping them, but I wanted to watch it like in slow mo and pause in some places to see the artistry behind it. But instead, when Tarzan fell, I always fixated my gaze on Tarzan. Like as he got up and looked up, and we could presume that he saw that Clayton had died. We see Clayton's little, what do you call that sword? I guess I'm gonna call it a sword, but anyway, his sword, it falls with the blade stabbing the ground. But then I thought, could it be that that's supposed to represent that Clayton accidentally stabbed himself? But no, it turns out that they did draw Clayton hanging. It just appeared as a lightning strike and the shadow figure moving around. I never noticed that before until 2 nights ago. I'm telling you, never ever had I seen that. And I think it's because to me, it just looked like I looked at Tarzan. So if I'm fixating on looking at Tarzan, to me, that all I see is this, like the shadow of vines. But I never noticed that Clayton was actually included there too. And I noticed it because again, I rewinded it to rewatch how the tangling was happening. And because of that, I guess my eyes shifted because I'm like, I want to see something that isn't Tarzan. I'm trying to watch the things I never looked at before. And yeah, this for about 4 or 5 seconds, you see that. And I have never noticed it before, I'm telling you. And yeah, guys, that's about it when it comes to the notes I took while watching this. This was a great experience. I'm going to try to do this more often, especially with Disney movies or movies that I have experienced that I watched, I mean, tens of times back in the good old days, but I haven't seen them in so long. But also to prove how bad I am at watching movies. But this is one of those movies I have in VHS and I know I'm never gonna watch again. But if it weren't for watching it online, I wouldn't have seen it since probably the year 2004, I want to say was the last time I had access to like a VHS player thing. But anyway. Well, there you guys have it. That's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you soon.